New York City feels quieter, but not in a good way. It's like when you know a storm is coming. The sky is dark, and everyone is holding their breath, waiting for something bad to happen. Without Spider-Man, the city lost its friendly neighborhood hero. There's no red and blue suit swinging between the tall buildings. No one is stopping the little crimes, like a stolen purse or a bike being taken. It might sound small, but those little things made people feel safe. They knew someone was looking out for them, even when they didn't know it. Now, that feeling is gone, and the city feels colder because of it. The streets are different now. People don't look up at the sky with hope anymore. They keep their heads down and walk a bit faster. You can feel the fear in the air, a constant buzz of worry. The famous New York spirit, that we can handle anything attitude, has a crack in it. It's like a piece of the city's heart is missing. The bright lights of Times Square seem less bright, and the noise of the traffic sounds more like a warning than the sound of a living, breathing city. It's a place holding its breath, waiting for a hero who will never arrive. Without Spider-Man, the gap between the big, world-ending threats and the everyday problems is massive. The Avengers are amazing, of course, but they handle aliens and gods. They aren't there to stop a corner store robbery. That was his job. He was the bridge. He was the guy who reminded everyone that even small acts of kindness and bravery matter. Without him, the city feels disconnected from its heroes. The grand battles in the sky feel distant and strange when the streets below are filled with a quiet, creeping sense of dread that no one is coming to help with the small stuff. So this is the New York we live in. It's a city on edge. The newspapers are full of stories about rising crime rates and people feeling unsafe in their own neighborhoods. There are no blurry photos of a web slinger on the front page, no headlines asking if he's a hero or a menace. There's just a silence where his story should be. It's a silence that is louder than any explosion. It's the sound of a city that has lost its protector, its symbol of hope, and its friendly neighbor. And everyone deep down can feel that something important is missing. Without Spider-Man to stop them, the villains have a lot more freedom. It's like the teacher left the classroom, and now the naughty kids can do whatever they want. Take Norman Osborn, for example. Without a hero constantly getting in his way, his plans as the Green Goblin would be, well, a lot more successful. He could operate from the shadows, using his wealth and intelligence to gain power. The city wouldn't just be facing a cackling goblin on a glider, it would be facing a powerful businessman who secretly controls everything, with no one smart or brave enough to expose him. Then there's Dr. Octopus. Imagine those mechanical arms, not in a fight with Spider-Man, but tearing through a bank vault without any real opposition. The police would do their best, of course, but they aren't equipped to handle a guy with 4 super strong metal tentacles. He wouldn't just be a villain. He'd be an unstoppable force, a nightmare come to life. He could hold the city hostage, demanding whatever he wanted. Without Spider-Man's genius to match his own, Otto Octavius would be a king in a kingdom of fear, his scientific ambitions running wild with no one to check them. It's not just the big names either. Villains like the Vulture or Shocker would thrive. Adrian Toomes could run his illegal weapons operation for years, selling dangerous alien tech to any criminal who could afford it. The streets would become a war zone filled with high-tech weapons that the police simply can't compete with. Herman Schultz, as the Shocker, could rob banks day after day. These guys, who were once just a nuisance for Spider-Man, would become major crime lords. They would carve up the city, creating their own little empires built on fear and chaos. The whole criminal underworld would change. It would be more organized, more powerful, and much bolder. The villains wouldn't be hiding in the dark as much. Why would they? There's no one special coming for them. They would become public figures, almost like celebrities of crime. The news would be all about their latest heist or their newest territory. The city wouldn't just have a crime problem, it would be ruled by it. The absence of one hero would allow a dozen monsters to rise and take his place, turning New York into their personal playground. The Avengers are incredible, truly. They save the world, but they operate on a different level. Iron Man, Captain America, and the others are focused on global threats. Alien invasions, rogue AI, cosmic dangers. They are the soldiers fighting a war on a massive scale. They wouldn't necessarily notice the rise of a villain like the Green Goblin at first. He's a city-level problem, not a world-ending one. Tony Stark might be busy designing new tech to stop a threat from another dimension, completely unaware that a man in a green suit is terrorizing Queens. When they finally do notice, their response would be different. It would be big and loud. Iron Man might fly in, blast the Green Goblin out of the sky, and then fly off to his next mission. Problem solved, right? But it's not that simple. Spider-Man didn't just fight his villains, he understood them. He knew their weaknesses, both physical and emotional. The Avengers would treat them like any other bad guy, a problem to be neutralized. They wouldn't see the person behind the mask, the tragedy that often created the monster. They would win the battle, but they might lose the chance to save the person. The team would feel the gap, even if they couldn't quite name it. Captain America would see the fear in the eyes of the people on the street and know that something was missing. He'd feel that the connection between the heroes and the public was weak. The Avengers inspire awe, but Spider-Man inspired trust. He was one of them. The team would be a force of protection, but not a source of comfort. They are generals, but the city needs a beat cop, someone who walks the streets and knows the people by name. Ultimately, the Avengers can't be everywhere at once. They can't stop every mugging or every break-in. Their presence might even make things worse in a way. Criminals would know to lay low when an Avenger is in town, but would come right back out the moment they leave. The city would live in a cycle of chaos and temporary safety. The Avengers would be like a powerful but temporary solution. They could put out the biggest fires, but they couldn't stop the embers from smoldering and a new fire from starting somewhere else the next day. They need a ground-level hero, and without him, they're just visitors. For a long time, the people of New York would feel hopeless. They would watch the news and see the city they love being torn apart by criminals. They would feel small and powerless, forgotten by the gods who fight in the sky. But New Yorkers are tough. After the fear and the despair, something else would start to grow resilience. People would start looking out for each other more. Neighborhood watch groups would become more important than ever. Ordinary people would start doing small, heroic things every single day. They would realize that they can't wait for a hero to save them. They have to save themselves. In the middle of all this, someone new might try to step up. It wouldn't be someone with superpowers, not at first. Maybe it would be a police officer who works extra hours, becoming a symbol of justice for their precinct. Or maybe a journalist who risks everything to expose the corruption of someone like Norman Osborn. It could even be a kid from Queens, inspired by the stories of the Avengers, who creates their own makeshift costume and tries to make a difference. This new hero wouldn't be Spider-Man, but they would be born from the same need. The need for someone to stand up and say, "Not in my city." This new hope wouldn't be about one person. It would be a collective spirit. The city would learn a hard lesson, that heroes aren't just people with powers, they are people who choose to help. The absence of Spider-Man would force the city to create its own heroes. The spirit of helping your neighbor, of standing up for what's right, would become the city's new superpower. It would be a tougher, grittier kind of hope, forged in darkness and fear. It wouldn't have the same lighthearted charm, but it would be strong, maybe even stronger in its own way. In the end, this New York without Spider-Man is a darker, more dangerous place. It's a city that has seen the worst of itself, but it's also a city that has been forced to find its own strength. The hope isn't gone, it has just changed. It's no longer found in a single person swinging through the sky. It's found in the countless small acts of bravery from ordinary people on the ground. The city misses its friendly neighborhood Spider-Man more than words can say, but in his absence, it learned that a hero can be anyone, and that in itself is a powerful legacy.